Oh, Porto de Galinhas. I don't even know where to start talking about this incredible place I had the privilege of visiting. From the moment I set foot there, it felt like I had stepped into a postcard. The seawater, I swear, is such a crystal clear blue that it almost seems unreal. My trip started early, departing from Recife. It's just about a 50-minute drive to Porto de Galinhas, but when you arrive, it feels like you're light years away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Right at the entrance to the village, the welcoming atmosphere already won me over. Charming little streets, full of colorful shops and smiling people. Everything is so inviting. On the first day, I took a raft ride to the famous natural pools. What an experience, truly! The water is so transparent you can see the little fish swimming right beneath your feet. They even come up to eat food straight from your hand. I was so mesmerized that I lost track of time. A tip here: check the tide schedule before you go, because you can only enjoy the pools when the tide is low. After that, I explored other beaches in the region. Maracate Beach is a spectacle of its own, with that wilder look, perfect for those who enjoy tranquility or, in my case, great photos. I also saw plenty of surfers there. On the other hand, Coop Beach has stronger waves but also a special spot for swimming. And I can't forget the buggy ride. It was adrenaline from start to finish, passing through incredible landscapes. The expression "from end to end" made total sense to me on this ride. And the food? Oh, it was delicious. I had a fish cooked in a clay pan that practically melted in my mouth. I also tried some typical dishes from Pernambuco, like fried cassava and bolo de rolo, which is perfect for someone like me who loves sweets. Not to mention the tapiocas with various fillings, sold everywhere. At night, the village takes on a whole new charm. The lights, live music in the restaurants, and the delicious aroma of food in the air make everything even more special. I strolled through the craft shops and brought back a few souvenirs, like ceramic pieces and a beautiful painting by a local artist. What I loved most about Porto de Galinhas was the balance between relaxation and adventure. It's the kind of place where you feel you can slow down but still have so much to explore. When the sun sets and the sky lights up with shades of orange, you truly understand why this place is so beloved. If you haven't been yet, I can only say one thing: go. Porto de Galinhas is the kind of trip that stays in your memory forever. And you know what? I can't wait to go back. Oh, and I can't forget to mention, Porto de Galinhas is located in the state of Pernambuco, one of the most amazing places in Brazil. Pernambuco is known for its vibrant culture, breathtaking beaches, and, of course, the hospitality of its people. It's a state that blends history, art, music, and mouth-watering cuisine. The capital, Recife, is a destination in itself, with its urban charm full of contrasts, including the famous Recife Antigo neighborhood, where everything breathes history. And how can I talk about Pernambuco without mentioning Olinda? This city, right next to Recife, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and has one of the most famous carnivals in the world. Can you imagine being there, climbing and descending the hills to the sound of frevo? It's pure energy. Beyond the larger cities, the state boasts impressive natural beauty. There are beaches like Porto de Galinhas and Carneiros, rivers, mangroves, and even the Sertão, which has its own unique beauty and traditions. Pernambuco also has a distinctive cuisine, with dishes like bolo de rolo, escondidinho de charque, arrumadinho, and the famous surura soup. Another thing that struck me was realizing how rich the state's history is. Pernambuco was the stage for revolutions like the Confederation of the Equator and is known for the cultural strength of its people. Music is also a highlight, with genres like frevo, maracatu, and forró forming part of the state's DNA. Visiting Porto de Galinhas made me appreciate everything Pernambuco has to offer even more. It's as if that little slice of paradise is a window into the best the state has: natural beauty, rich culture, and contagious joy. So, if you're planning a trip here, don't miss out on exploring other destinations in Pernambuco. It's impossible not to fall in love. If you're planning a trip to Porto de Galinhas, I've got some tips that can make all the difference in making the most of this paradise. First, let's talk about the best time to go. The recommended season is between September and March, which is the dry season. The weather is perfect, with sunny days almost every day. Just keep an eye on the tide schedule, because the natural pools, which are one of the main attractions, are stunning when the tide is low. Getting there is also easy. The nearest airport is in Recife, and from there it's just a 50-minute drive to Porto de Galinhas. You can book a transfer, use ride-sharing apps, or even rent a car, especially if you want to explore other beaches in the area. One important thing, the currency in Brazil is the real, BRL, so it's a good idea to exchange some money before you arrive or withdraw cash in Recife. Many places accept credit cards, but smaller shops and beach vendors usually prefer cash. Now, about the language, in Porto de Galinhas, not everyone speaks English. Some people in restaurants and hotels understand the basics, but learning a few words in Portuguese can help a lot. A simple obrigado, which means thank you, or quanto custa? How much does it cost, makes a huge difference, and what should you pack? Don't forget sunscreen because the sun there is strong. Also, bring a hat, sunglasses, light clothing, and a good insect repellent, especially if you're planning to explore mangroves or go on evening tours. Oh, and one important detail, a reusable water bottle is always handy to stay hydrated in the heat. As for activities, Porto de Galinhas has so much to offer. You must take the raft ride to the natural pools. It's magical. You can see the little fish swimming right below you in crystal clear water. I also recommend the buggy ride called Ponta a Ponta, which takes you to several stunning beaches, like Maricape and Coop. If you enjoy diving, take the chance to explore the reefs. And now, let's talk about food. The local cuisine is a unique experience. Try the fish baked in clay pots, the fresh seafood, and, of course, the stuffed tapiocas. For dessert, the famous bolo de rolo is a classic from Pernambuco that you'll love. And to drink, don't miss out on a caipirinha, especially with tropical fruits like passion fruit or pineapple. At night, Porto de Galinhas has a special vibe. The village lights, live music at the restaurants, and the aroma of food in the air make everything even more charming. It's the perfect time to buy some souvenirs, like ceramic pieces or handmade items. Lastly, but certainly not least, here are some safety tips. Always keep an eye on your belongings, especially on the beach, and respect the guidelines on where to swim. Some beaches have stronger currents. If you have time, explore beyond Porto de Galinhas. Carneiros Beach, about an hour away, is breathtaking, with a chapel right on the sand. And if you're in the mood for culture, Recife and Olinda are must-see stops, full of history and charm. Porto de Galinhas is the kind of place that perfectly balances adventure and relaxation. I'm sure it'll be an unforgettable trip. Enjoy every moment. Now, when you're heading to Porto de Galinhas, it's important to pay attention to a few safety tips and also the local currency. Let me tell you how I organized everything. First, about safety, Porto de Galinhas is a peaceful place, but like any tourist destination, there are some basic precautions you shouldn't ignore. For example, always take care of your belongings, especially on the beach. It's better to bring only the essentials and never leave valuables unattended on the sand. I used a small waterproof bag to carry my phone and wallet, which really helped. At night, the village has a super pleasant atmosphere, but I avoided walking alone in very deserted streets. Walking in a group or using reliable transportation is always safer. Plus, I talked to the staff at the guesthouse where I stayed, and they gave me some tips about which areas to avoid, just to make sure I wouldn't have any issues. And now, about the currency, in Brazil, we use the real, BRL. When I went, in December 2024, the dollar was worth about 6.13 reais. So, it's worth calculating before exchanging too much money. I exchanged some at the airport for emergencies, but most of my expenses I paid with a credit card. Most places in Porto de Galinhas accept international cards, which makes things a lot easier. Another important tip is to inform your bank that you're traveling, so your card doesn't get blocked for international use. And if you need to withdraw money in Brazil, use ATMs in busy areas during the day. With these small precautions, you can enjoy Porto de Galinhas without worries. Just plan everything carefully, and the rest is about enjoying that wonderful place.